Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. And boy, do we have a wonderful show for you guys today. I cannot wait to get into all these hot topics. And I have my good friend, Mr. Brian Tseng of the Full Disclosure Now movement in the studio with us today. Surprise, surprise, y'all. This is going to be so awesome. We have so many newest things to look into. I actually woke up this morning to an article about Dr. Stephen Greer getting a report back from the University of Georgia about that Buga Sphere thing. Okay. And we're going to talk about that. And boy, you guys won't believe how old that thing is what they're saying. Okay. And so we're going to get into that. Of course, we have a 911 call that I'm going to play for you guys today out of North Carolina. This happened back in 2021, but it is relevant today because it just made headlines and it is terrifying. It's terrifying. I believe they're calling it the rake call. It's what they're calling it. I think it's like a ghost, a Civil War ghost that turned into a pell crawler basically and jumped on a man's vehicle while he was on the phone with 911. You guys, it is so terrifying and I love it. Okay, but we have that to talk about. We also have some new pictures out of the Roswell crash we're going to talk about today. And could this be my last show ever? I don't know. They're saying that the rapture might occur tomorrow. Okay, so hold on to your seats, y'all. Like I said, we've got a lot to discuss today. So if you guys would like to check out all the archives to my shows, please go over to my website. That's thecryptidhuntress.com. You can find all of my shows there. The calendar of events of all the different conferences and Bigfoot festivals that I will be at. The next one I have coming up is down in Orlando, Florida. I will be at the Super Soldier Activation Conference with some wonderful speakers down there, October the 8th through the 12th. So you guys, please come see me. And you can get more information on my website or go to supersoldiercon.com, I believe. Okay. And hopefully I'll see you guys down there. Also, I do have the Molina Bigfoot Festival coming up and 2 UFO conferences. They're all on my website. And we'll talk more about those when they get closer to time. Okay. Well, also, you can find links to my Patreon and my shop. It's called War Woman Goods, and I want to thank everybody. I've had an uptick in people buying out of my shop recently, so thank you guys so much for your support. And if you tell me or if I recognize you from watching my shows, or if you let me know that you watch my shows, I do put in some Cryptid Huntress merchandise, stickers, magnets, whatever I can fit in the bag. Okay, so thank you guys so much for all your support. Okay, well, let's get to our show today. Thank you for my mods for being here today and my channel members and my Patreon members and everybody. Okay. So today we're going to explore the recently released 911 call from a man in Pender County, North Carolina, where a non-human entity jumped into the back of his truck. We're also going to be talking about the Buga Sphere, the Roswell UFO crash, SWAN25B COMET. Forgot to mention that one. And the predictions of the rapture happening tomorrow. I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying it is being predicted. Okay, so you guys, y'all will know Brian Tseng from the Full Disclosure Now movement. The last time I got to see Brian was down at his conference, the Full Disclosure Now conference down in St. Pete, Florida, and it was phenomenal. A wonderful conference. He's a community organizer, an event organizer, and one of the biggest voices in the disclosure movement. Please help me welcome to the show, Mr. Brian Tseng, aka the SolarBee.
Hello, Jessica. Hello, everybody. It's great to be here, and we've got a smorgasbord of topics, which are probably all interrelated, but on the surface, between the Buga Sphere and skinwalkers or rakes in North Carolina, among other places, and then the end of the world.
Oh
We
gosh.
can talk about all of that.
Yes. Hopefully it's not the end of the world, but I mean, if it's the rapture, I guess it's a good thing for those who are ready to go. Okay. And we do live in a really weird world right now, a really crazy time, Brian. And I mean, I'm here for it all. I don't know about you. I'm
We
kind
got
of
we got
enjoying it.
two lunar eclipses, and then a an equinox now coming up, hopefully to balance out the blood moon eclipse energy. That would be nice. And so a lot of people, it seems like the light is won, the tide is turning, but we're still under a bit of spiritual attack and in this kind of like astrological dead zone, it feels like. And the energy is about to pick up, but we need to still hang tight for a little bit longer.
Yes. Well, I'm holding tight. I'm holding on like I'm on a roller coaster right now. That's how I feel. But it's pretty amazing. It's wild. My world is absolutely wild right now, personally. And I know you're a busy man. You're a busy man. What have you been up to since the last time I saw you?
Well, I'm now relocating here to Sedona, Arizona, where
Oh
I'm
yeah.
in a log cabin on the main property of what used to be the Creative Life Center, and which we are going to be transforming into the Starseed Education, Activation, and Research Center for Humanity, or SEARCH, SEARCH, of Sedona, Arizona. And we'd like it to be the first one. And we'll be doing things like having groups of people rotate through here, through places like this log cabin, and then have a week of an initial intake interview and being with their fellow Starseeds experiencers, kind of like we did at the 2023 Montauk Adventure Tour in Montauk together, Long Island, New York. And we'll have a lot of healing modalities, great food, meditation, hikes, and networking. And by the time the people leave with their outro interview, we'll do our best to make sure they've got the right organization and resources and networking so that they can, go back out there and thrive and be, even more organized with a growing network.
Oh my gosh. I love that, Brian. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
That's going to be awesome. I mean, the world needs more star seeds out there doing their thing and spreading the light and all the knowledge. I mean, it was a pretty amazing experience going up to Montauk with you and the whole crowd that was up there. And we actually have Long Island Bigfoot Mike in the chat. Thank you for that super sticker, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
LIB. Yeah, Mike was with us up there. He gave us the official tour of Camp Hero. He and Brian Minnick and Michael Roser of Dark Hour Paranormal, and we had a bunch of Montauk survivors with us as well, and so that was very special. So thank you for inviting me to that trip, Brian. It's
Of
been
course. Yeah,
amazing.
that was great to have you there.
Thank you.
And then, of course, in addition to the Search Institute here, we're still in the midst of launching the Full Disclosure Network and app, and with its cryptocurrency and all the bells and whistles. But first, relocating here and then getting the live recording, production studio set up at the conference center is also really important.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, whatever you put your hands on is going to thrive and it's going to be amazing. So congratulations, and I look forward to see more with it and maybe visiting sometime and all
Oh, of
that. So
course, you're going to be
yeah,
part of the rotation. We
yeah.
can bring you and Ben
Yes.
out.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. And I can't wait. So, okay. Well, anything I can do to help you as well, you just let me know. I'm always here for you. And
Thank you, Jessica.
of course, of course. Well, thank you for being here today to talk about some of these wacky topics we got. And they're not all wacky. Some of them are pretty serious. But I spoke with you briefly on Thursday. I had done some remote viewing on that weird meteorite alien. We call it the tater invader. It looked like started off looking like a potato, and it kind of sprouted into venom, like from the Marvel series. And I was just seeing yesterday the guy was there. He was claiming that he had released this creature into the wild yesterday. Have you been keeping up with
saw
that?
he put it into the water, and now so that's freaking me out. And so
Yeah.
one friend in the community did send me a debunking video, and so I didn't really get to watch the whole thing, but I mean, I hope to God I'd rather have it be debunked than have like an invasive, parasitic, self-replicating organism just out loose here on Earth that doesn't belong here. That's not good. And so
No.
I have to ask you, what was your data saying?
Well,
Is it real or is it bunkum?
Well, according to my data, it seemed like it could be real. And we had a pretty good debate on that, of course. And the majority of the people seemed as though they believe it's fake. Okay. And I thought it was fake too when I first saw it. But my remote viewing data, it seems as though I think it could be real. Okay. And I know it kind of sounds a little wacky. And there are people that are saying, well, it's been debunked. It's been debunked. But the guy was like even taking pieces of it and putting them in bottles and shipping them out all over the world to scientists and stuff. And I mean, if it's fake, it's an elaborate hoax. It's very elaborate.
It's super elaborate, and that's the thing that's got me. And then, I am kind of surprised that if it is real, you would expect some governmental agency to swoop down, like as a containment unit, especially before he like releases it into the Rio Grande or wherever he did it. That's scary.
He was in Panama.
Yeah. Okay. Into the Panama Canal, like that's
right.
You're going through the Panama Canal and your shipment's held up because of venom. Yeah.
Because of venom. Well, it's taking over the world. And of course, we got into this really amazing conversation on Saturday night with my guest. I had my co-host guest. I had my friend Mark here, and we were talking about the possibility of the graphene oxide, zombies and humans becoming zombies, and maybe what was in the ouchies, if you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So I don't know. And we talk about this fake alien invasion that people are kind of expecting, and where does it end? Where does it end?
Well, for one thing, all the other things you mentioned in the transhumanism stuff, in regards to this particular tater invader, I think it's either 100% fake, which is what I hope it is, because otherwise it's really dangerous, or it's a super dangerous, like invasive organism that's self-replicating in a way we don't know how, and it doesn't belong on this planet because it's not, consistent with our way of life. And that if that thing just kept growing and getting bigger and bigger and got spread and chopped up into pieces everywhere, that's really bad.
It's really bad. That's right. Yeah, it's a little concerning. Okay, and I think the conversation went to kind of like, well, what can we do to prevent this from spreading across the world, and why did the government not step in already? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of questions. So time will tell. And until we can find out exactly what's going on, we've got other things to cover today. I actually did wake up. I was wondering, maybe we should do the Pell Crawler story last, I guess, because we're into the UFO stuff and the weird stuff. Not that the Pell Crawler's not weird.
Yeah. The Tater invaders along the more ET UFO type thing. I got to ask, in terms of your data, was it like you're saying your data indicated that it's like an invasive organism from space?
I can't say it was an invasive. Yeah, it would be something like that, kind of like venom, basically.
Okay,
but what? Here's the thing.
And were you blind remote viewing it?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, and it actually correlates a lot to my what is it called? 3-eye atlas data. I've remote viewed that twice, 2 blind targets at 2 separate times. And this is really bad though, Brian. It's kind of bad because here's the thing, like there are people who have remote viewed it who don't use the same method of remote viewing that I have, that say that, oh, it's something good. They're here to raise the consciousness of the planet and stuff. And it's positive. Well, my data was suggesting in both targets, these are blind targets, that it's actually something dark. Okay.
The Trojan horses.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then we combine it with some of the similar data that was in this thing that this guy has on this film, the Tater Invader, as I call it. And it kind of correlates to that 3-eye atlas data. Okay,
Wow.
so yeah, I'll
I,
send you all
well,
the data. Actually, it's in my Patreon. You're a Patreon member, actually, but
yeah, I am. I
I'll make
am.
sure you get it. Yeah, I'll make
Well,
sure you get it.
hopefully the Tater Invader isn't a small preceding pebble of like a large giant version of that, which would be pretty scary. But then, the other thing is we also know from many of our other contacts in the community that there are positive galactics out there. And then, of course, there's the angelics and source God. And I think they have better things in mind for Earth than for us to become, tatered over, for example.
Oh yeah, get tatered over, tater logged. Just kidding. Oh man, MIB, LIB. I just called you MIB, LIB. You'd love that one. Okay. Well, okay. So this morning, Brian, I woke up to one of the first things I saw when I opened up my little phone. I was scrolling. I was seeing that Dr. Stephen Greer had announced that the University of Georgia, where I live in Georgia, and go dogs. Okay, but he had announced that they had dated the Buga Sphere, and I don't know what do you know about the Buga Sphere? I know that our good friend Sean Bond has been in contact with it.
Right. So with the Buga Sphere, I know that there are a lot of people out there in our community who are very great, credible, intelligent people who they think it's fake. And then what they do is they trot out a couple pieces of their evidence or reasoning is like, there's like a certain cooking device that's a spear and it's bisected in half and it almost looks exactly like the Buga Sphere, and so that's like a debunk. Or they say that on some of these Buga Spheres, the so-called sigils or symbols or writing on the spears are exactly the same as what's found in like Star Wars, like a Star Wars book where they made up a language for the Star Wars supposed universe, which is really based on the Orion Wars, which is real life apparently. But having said that, there's a lot of people, and number one, there's video of spears flying around. Okay.
Yes.
Many of them. And then the Buga Sphere, I believe, is supposed to be one of these that had video maybe or was seen flying in the air and then was recovered. And then when you have people like Sean Bond and Anthony Mickle, Josh Sisler, Mike Forrest of alienartifacts.com, I think, and many others in the community, Arturo Hernandez, there are a lot of the Huehuelos type stones that they're finding that have the same markings as the Buga spheres that we're finding today. Okay. And so what this indicates is A, it's the flying around, that's technology. B, we're digging up artifacts that are stone versions in many cases of these spears, and there might be some metal ones, and I have to do more calls around that. But I'm being offered, hey, like people, they have this, and it's coming out. They want to sell it now, and so I want to appraise it and look at it and have at least one that I would hope would be authentic. But I
Oh
believe
my
that at
gosh.
least some are authentic. If not, maybe there might be some fakes out there, but I believe for the most part they are authentic for all those reasons.
It's so interesting because with a lot of these spheres, these orbs, I've been tasked with these like blind targets of some of the orbs that make crop circles. I've seen video. My friend Matt has a video given to him by a good friend of his who was the head of Tennessee MUFON, who has passed away. But he has a video that she gave him of metallic spheres going past a camera in somebody's backyard and turning into ETs and running around, two of them actually. It's the most amazing video I've ever seen of ETs ever. And it is very authentic. And he does show it at conferences and stuff. But this is why I'm so interested in these spheres. Okay, because I've done remote viewing on them. And so this is an interesting one here because the Buga Sphere, the resin, they've taken the resin from one of these, from this one right here, actually. They say it's older than the pyramids, Brian. It's over 10,000 years. 10,000 years older than the pyramids.
Older. Again, then people date the pyramids to like, what, 4,000 years old or so?
Mm-hmm.
And it's at 14,000 at least or something like that.
Yes.
I don't know. It's ballpark, right? And then so, looking at our I'm going to call it real history. Other people call it the woo history. You know, instead of us coming from monkeys and apes, when you go back to 10 or 14,000 years, you know, you're going back first. We've got from today, modern day Rome, to 2,000 years ago, Rome, to before that, Egypt and Babylon, Samaria. And then before that would be the Great Flood and the times of Atlantis. And before that, Lemuria and Atlantis. And so that puts us into Atlantean times. And that's firmly, you know, with the Anunnaki and all sorts of other ETs, but definitely the Anunnaki and Draco reptilian presence.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Well, this is what Dr. Greer posted on his website. Now, this is on his website, and that is what we're looking at right now is drstephengreer.com. And he says the results are remarkable. The material dates back approximately 12,560 years, placing it in the late Pleistocene epoch during the Younger Dryas, the dramatic final cold snap of the last ice age. So that's 12,900 to 11,700 years ago. And the full lab report, including the methodology, the isotopic data, is available below. It says below. So let me scroll down. You guys can see this. You can go. Please go to his website if you guys want to check this out. But this was, he had the University of Georgia, their Center for Applied Isotope Studies. They just released this report. It's dated September the 19th, y'all. Brian, that's like, this is hot off the press right here.
Hot off the press, yeah.
Hot off the press.
Yeah, and so this obviously throws into question, or, you know, further shows that the Darwinian evolutionary Freemason garbage that we've been fed in our high school, Rockefeller, Rothschild dominated school education system, as it were. You know, it's total garbage, and this is getting into the real history. And there's a lot of people. There's the Betts sphere. You know, that's yet another. It's like more of a round stone, a baseball size. And it's been shown, and many others have been shown to display very strange physical properties, like they'll boil water, or they'll heat up, you know, if you put them near certain things, or they'll disable clocks and electronics.
Oh yeah, it has interesting properties to it for sure. And if you go see, I had some pictures that I was going to pull up, but I'm not going to do that today. Okay. You guys can go find some pictures of this thing over on, do a Google search or DuckDuckGo or whatever. But it's the Buga Sphere. I think it's really cool. They actually have dated the thing. And in case you guys, I know that Brian, you had mentioned this, but this metallic object, the one that they dated, was recovered in March of 2025. It's made of 3 layers of metal-like material, and it's surrounded by 18 microspheres, all encasing a central nucleus. Some scientists and researchers speculated that its nucleus could be a quantum chip, and X-ray scans of the sphere revealed no welds or joints, saying that it's just one big single piece. It's not welded together or anything like that. So very interesting. It's not man-made, basically, is what they're saying.
No. I mean, the closest we could get sounds like 3D printing technology. That's how you make stuff without seams. That's one way, you know, where they formed it somehow. But yeah, it's nice to see that it's the physical analysis for all the people who want more hard evidence. Fine, here you go. Are you happy now? Now that you got it, okay, now what? Next?
Yes, show me the receipts. That's what everybody wants to hear. Show me the receipts.
Here are the receipts, and here they are. Now can we, you know, get through the cognitive dissonance of, yes, there are ETs, you know, non-human intelligences, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, it's data, and that's what people really do want. And so, okay, well, all right. So we've covered that. Let's go to the next thing now. Another thing that I just saw recently were possible pictures of the ETs from the crash at Roswell, and it was actually put out by our government, and very quietly. And it was actually in a video. Let's see. I'll see if I can find I'm going to pull up an article. Actually, I think this is in the Sun or something. It's one of these, magazines, I think. And we'll go through this. Have you seen this, Brian? Are you familiar with, I guess you need to see what I'm about to show you. UFO debris and alien bodies are seen in this haunting video that was put out by basically our government here. It says, the U.S. National Archives may have recently released new pictures of famous Roswell UFO crash, released with a boring. They're calling it boring. Okay, some of these people I was reading about, they said it was a boring video. I watched part of the video. I didn't think it was that boring, but okay. But until the end, they flash a couple of pictures of the Roswell crash. Okay, and this was actually, the video was talking about the Roswell crash, but they showed these pictures. And actually, when people were zooming in, I don't know if you guys can see those, when people were zooming in on this picture, they saw what looks like a body right there. And they just uploaded this on September the 17th. That was like 5 days ago. Okay, and let's scroll down a little bit. You can see some of the pictures that were included in that video. Here it is right here. It does. I don't know about you, Brian, but to me, that does look like it could be an alien body right there.
Yeah, looks like a ragdoll gray. It looks like a gray body, kind of. Yeah, you can see like the head and like the body crumpled up. Maybe it's possible.
Maybe it's possible. What do you think? Do you think that? I mean,
well,
we're here
so
for
this is my
full
whole
disclosure,
thing,
right?
Yeah. So my whole thing is this: today we're in the age of AI. And so, how do we discern if imagery and video now, full-on video, is AI or not? So there's some things that I personally look for. Like if they'll show you the most amazing scene, but they only show you it from the one angle, that's one thing. Like if I'm seeing the same scenery, but from multiple angles, that generally is a better indicator that, okay, it might not be AI. Things like that, or like you're looking at if things change in the background, or if the main figure that's moving, if it kind of morphs at all in a way that's odd, like its arm sticks out funny for a second or two and then goes back to being normal. Those are what I call AI tells and indicators, but obviously it's not foolproof, and AI is only getting better. But for this, Jessica, right. For this, what I like about this image, for example, is it's so subtle that an AI meant image would probably make any presumed ET kind of stand out more. Whereas this is more of like a documentary shot, and then that's like evidence of the body laying there. And unless you're pretty eagle-eyed, you're not necessarily going to notice that.
I love that, actually. Yeah. and if you look over to the left of where the red circle is, the body, y'all know I don't do red circles often on my show. Okay. But this one, you kind of needed it. And so they actually show a craft. Okay. So like in the collective consciousness, I know a lot of people think that like a UFO craft would be round, circular craft. Well, eyewitnesses actually were saying that it's not actually a round craft. It was more like, almost triangular, but not really. Has like a curvature at the top of it, and that's supposed to be the craft to the left of it right there. And they say, well, this actually lends a little more credibility to this picture because the eyewitnesses said the craft looked more like that than a round craft. Okay, so
and that makes sense, because when they're out there, I'm sure you've seen it, Jessica, there's like posters of like the different types of UFO shapes and the sightings over the different years. It'll give like the date and what country or state was seen in. And a lot of them have really rectangle shapes and all sorts of different shapes. So it's not surprising that it wouldn't necessarily be a UFO flying disc.
Yes. Well, that's what they're saying, and also, of course, the critics. I was seeing in this article, the critics were saying, "Oh, it's just pareidolia," and being a woman who deals with pareidolia on the regular when it comes to Bigfoot pictures, the
pareidolia just flew out of the sky, crashed into the earth, lit it on fire. Bodies thrown around. We've got crash recovery teams documented going back to Clifford Stone, and Majestic 12, but pareidolia Sure.
Yeah.
Swamp gas.
Pareidoia. Swamp gas. Yes, that's right. Swamp gas my ass. That's what Ray Szymanski says. He's been on my show. He's written a book called Swamp Gas My Ass. So, oh yeah. Yeah, pulling that up. You know what? Websites with all those ads make my computer completely shut down for some reason. So I get a lag sometimes. So I apologize, y'all, if I'm looking pixelated right now. It's because of my computer. Actually, it's because of all those ads, I think. But nonetheless, I think that's really interesting. They say that, Brian, those pictures, there were a couple of pictures. That was the main one right there. Let me see. I don't think I pulled them up here. I did not. Okay, there's one picture of the crater that we just looked at. And there's another picture that actually has a craft on it. It looks like the craft. And so, but that one had the craft and the crater. So anyway, so y'all go and check that out. The National Archives, okay, the U.S. National Archives. You can go to their website. It's a government website, and you can find a boring 21-minute, actually they say 22-minute video, and it's at the very end of that video. So fast forward through the boring parts, okay. But yeah, I mean, considering it could be AI, Brian, but also considering this could just be a breadcrumb into another step into the disclosure of alien life.
And that's, and well, you mentioned it's posted on Dr. Stephen Greer's website, and as much as I like a lot of the data that he has at least shared with the community, the breadcrumbing thing, this is still breadcrumbing. I mean, the way that we speak in our community, Jessica, is so open about breakaway space civilizations and time travel projects. And, here we're being breadcrumbed yet more. I'd rather they just come out with it. I personally believe that Dr. Stephen Greer has seen a lot more documents and evidence and all this to know far beyond what he breadcrumbs out to just come out and say it. And so, that's where we come in. We're not limited to hang out. Nobody's paying us to do this. We're not being invited to the Pentagon to give press briefings, but that would be pretty
Not
cool.
Yet.
Not yet, at least. Right.
Man, I love that. Yes, I love having you here, Brian. You've always got such a wonderful perspective on things. I do appreciate that. Last week, thank you, Andrew. Andrew's reminding me that last week we had the UFO hit by a missile near the coast of Yemen. Now, that was in a video from a few years ago, I believe, at least a couple of years ago, that was presented in a congressional hearing on UAPs. And so we did go over that last week. I don't think I remote viewed that one. That was not one of my targets, but we did talk about it.
That video is really interesting because what you see is when the missile apparently hits the craft and bounces off and shatters, while the craft is moving, it looks like it pulls some of the missile wreckage in its wake. Mm-hmm. And that almost seems consistent with how these craft are supposed to be powered or propelled, fly about, is with anti-gravity technology. And it almost like indicates that like the missile parts are being pulled along the anti-gravity wake with the UFO, like being put in its like anti-gravity jet stream, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think my buddy Wendell was calling it drafting, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we can associate that with NASCAR racing."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Drafting. You ever watch Talladega Nights? That's right.
Yeah,
you get up behind a car real close, and we got to put it in layman's terms. Yeah. If you watch NASCAR, you know what drafting is. So, yeah, that's what it was doing, and I think that's fantastic. I mean, I am happy that there's some sort of disclosure going on, even though it's breadcrumbs. At least we're getting somewhere.
It's something, right? It's better than outright denial and just assassinating people trying to come forward with the videos in the first place. This is true.
Yeah. And boy, I tell you what, we are so far ahead of the game when it comes to what the disclosure is with our government. One day people will look back and be like, man, those folks over there really had it. They've been talking about this for decades,
Yep, we know what's up.
Yeah, especially with the secret space program stuff. And that is something that I've really focused on that a good bit, especially since I've been to Montauk. with all of the survivors. And yeah, and that's, I've brought our Keem on the show a couple of times recently, and I've done some remote viewing for him. He's given me some blind targets, and it's pretty wild, pretty wild stuff.
Our team has some of the most
Mhm.
detailed recall of people in our community, and then many people remember him, and he remembers them.
Mhm.
And most of the situations are not on the positive fun side, and that's part of what reaffirms a lot of this for most of us. These aren't like really great, awesome live action role playing fantasies. They're actually really dark, like the worst of Brothers Grimm, played out in reality with dark Luciferians abusing children. And so, it's a lot of his testimony, especially, I think it's very significant. So, yep.
It is. Well, okay, so here's what I did is I sent, I have a team of remote viewers, and I sent the target that he sent me before I knew what the target was. I was working on a session or two with his targets, and I sent them over to my friend Susan, who's also a very accomplished remote viewer. Sent her the targets, and she and I had very similar data. And the target that I'm referring to was at Montauk in the studio, the music studio.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that we were able to confirm through the data that existed. And we both had, like I said, very similar data on that. And I would say that really happened. There's really, the things that our team remembers were in our data, both of us.
John Whitberg also testifies to that in his free ebook series, which is about his real life experiences to his best of his knowledge, not science fiction. Go look it up, everybody. The Man with the Periwinkle Eyes online. And what John Whitberg testifies is that his clone, or his one alter, Kyle Delshow, when he arrived at Camp Hero Air Force Base, probably in linear timeline in like the 70s or 80s, in this timeline now, they let him know, as they let all personnel know, that there's a recording studio. Everyone is, if they have any musical ability or if they write anything, they're supposed to report it and bring it to, the officer or whoever to share it. And then a lot of popular music is stolen from the Montauk Project. And then for some reason, none of the Montauk songs, they said, use woodwind instruments like flutes or anything like that. And so I think that that's really significant. Maybe when it comes to opening up portals and stuff for those people who play like the Legend of Zelda series, for example. You have a son, Jessica, you might be familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Like Zelda has like the ocarina, and they play it. It's like a little shell pipe, and then it can open up portals or summon things. There may be more to that than, a video game.
Oh my gosh, that is wild that you brought that up, because in the Bigfoot world, in the Dogman world, there's been a lot of controversy over people using what is known as a shofar out in the woods
The horn.
Yes. Well, there's certain notes that you can play on that. You have to know the right ones or the wrong one. I'm going to say the wrong ones.
Or the wrong ones.
Yeah, it's the wrong ones. They attract a lot of negative energies and creatures, dogmen, really, and things like pell crawlers, stuff that we're gonna talk about towards the end of the show later, about a potential pell crawler. But it's something where people are opening portals. And then the problem with that is, there's a lot of problems with that, actually, but opening portals out in the field when they're doing cryptid research or just cryptid summoning, I'm not going to call that research. That's summoning stuff.
That's bad, because then you leave open portals all over. Right. Now you got an open doorway with nasties coming through. And we've had that happen. We had people staying at our house in Nevada, and one of them, they altered out and started mumbling under their breath and doing hand magic, as some of my housemate business partners put it. And they opened a portal, which my housemates were unable to close for, it might still be open. And then at least one nasty thing came through. And so that's very real. And not advised. That's a problem with summoning things and opening doorways. That's why you always have to say goodbye. And then that's also why, I don't know if your grandma taught you. I know a lot of people
Yeah.
in folklore, they're taught never whistle in the woods.
Yes, that's an ongoing thing. We sometimes whistle on purpose though, to try to,
Hmm.
because we're out there looking for things.
Yeah, you're
Pretty cool.
tempting. You're
Yeah.
tempting. Do you ever see
Yes.
a will-o'-the-wisp?
I have. I don't know. I don't know. I know like there's a little plant outside the house here that looks like it has a little will o' the wisp on it, and whenever the wind blows, they fly off. So
Okay. No, I'm talking more
yeah,
like
just
fairy
a plant.
lights, like a
No, I
will-o'-the-wisp
haven't.
type
Well, I
fairy
may
light
have.
where like they're known in the lore, it'll be like a fairy light and it'll lead you deeper and deeper into the forest. And if you follow it too much, you're going to disappear. Who
Into a
knows
portal.
why? But yeah, who knows? Perhaps. And so don't follow the fairy lights.
Yeah, yeah, and don't get in a fairy ring either, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of little things you're not supposed to do in the woods, and occasionally, I don't do them usually, but somebody on like one of our investigation teams will do it. Like we whistled, one of the guys whistled in the back of a cave up at that Skinwalker Cave in Tennessee, and a pill crawler or something peeked its head out from behind the shadows down the way.
Oh, so
So
that's, and so it
yeah,
peaked after he whistled.
yes, yes. Yeah, it's a good thing when you're looking for them, but you have to be prepared for what's going to happen afterwards because you
Yeah.
may not make it.
Well,
Oh,
apparently
speaking
there's
of,
like a, well, there's a movie series I think called like The Descent, and it's about
yes,
people going into these cave systems, and then you've got
yes,
these like cave monster dwellers that like hunt them all down, and yeah. Then that's these
yeah.
pale crawlers. I mean, I think are closer to that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they are actually, which is pretty terrifying. Yeah, you don't want to run into one of the pell crawlers. You really don't. So do not whistle. But that's interesting about the wind instruments versus the other instruments because I remember in Susan's data, she was picking up. I don't remember if it was mine too, but she was definitely picking up on drumming, and I was picking up on music myself and all the sound frequencies and things that were going on there. So
So the and are you talking Susan Long?
no, my friend Susan, no, Susan,
Different
her name's
Susan.
Susan Fuller. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
She's usually in the chats.
okay,
She's a
excellent.
longtime remote viewer.
Okay.
She's been doing it way longer than I have actually, and she's on my team. And
Because in shamanic tradition, drumming, is one of the oldest, forms of, and even here I've got like the highest form of I guess a drum would be a bell, but
percussion.
yeah, percussion, but the drums are used to establish like a certain grounding beat, and it has so much to do with like as above, so below. And I think like just like the bell is like a high pitched version down here in 3D physical reality of a sound and vibration, the drum is like the bass version of that.
Oh yeah, I never even thought about that. I never thought about bells being percussion, but that's right. Duh. I don't know why I never thought of that.
Yeah, because it entered the
interesting.
trance, the
Yeah.
shamanic trance state
Oops.
is one way to help enter into that is with that rhythmic drum beating to get into that like trance theta state, perhaps.
Oh yeah. Wow. Yes. Okay. Well, that's all part of the remote viewing aspect and really tuning in to stuff. And so man, that's pretty amazing. Okay. And yes, Jay Trusiger says there are certain sound frequency buzz tones that a person can use to open granite rock portals. Man.
That makes a lot of sense because you've got in India, you got the temples and Praveen Mahatra, I forget his name, but he's an Indian gentleman who makes it a point to go to all these amazing Indian temples, and they show one where it's got these giant columns, and each of the columns, it's literally I don't know if you ring on it with a mallet or something, but it's a do re mi fa sol la ti do, and it's literally that. And when you look at things like the Gateway tapes with from the not the Monroe Institute, Monroe Institute for the Stargate project with the CIA,
The Monroe Gateway program.
The Monroe, exactly. Those tapes they'll have you do things like in tone, like o ah e, and then as you tune your physical body, you're also tuning your astral, auric, etheric, spiritual bodies. And so in terms of the tones and vibrations, all of this is coming together and making a lot more sense than, what we see in the video games is more real than a lot of the reality we've been fed, or not just video games, movies and TV series.
Yes. Let me tell you, I have done, that was part of my prerequisite. Like it was a requirement for us to learn remote viewing. We had to do the Monroe Gateway process, the whole program. We had to go through all of it. And you can actually find that if you have Spotify, you can find it on, I always say it's for free, but really you got to have a subscription to Spotify. So it's not free.
It's on YouTube too, if you find in the right places. If you look at, I think the Gateway Wave, and then waves like 1 through 10 or 20, I forget.
Yeah, it's got over 20 of these. It's like videos, it's audio, sessions.
Binaural beats. Yeah.
Yes. And let me tell you, you are more than this physical body. You're going to hear that every single one. You are more than your physical body, So anyone who's done those programs knows what I'm talking about.
And is that Bob Monroe's voice?
Yes. I believe so. Yeah, I think it is. Yes. He has pulled me out of a sleep many times because it's easy to fall asleep when you're doing those processes. And yes, I have snored several times, woken myself up snoring actually. So it takes a lot of practice to get really good at that stuff. And to be able to stay in between sleep and being awake, it's a fine line. But anyways, that's besides the point. But anyways, yes, the sound frequencies do open portals, and that's something that we do kind of look into when we're out in the field and stuff as well, doing our Bigfoot field research. And now we're talking about, we're talking about portals and UFOs and UAPs as well, and them coming in and out of portals. So things that we've been talking about for years, and I've been studying and researching for decades now, it's finally kind of coming out and leaking out into the public now. So
when they strapped the children into the Montauk trip chair to get them to open up portals, apparently they were playing music and tones and sound frequencies and beaming light, into their eyes and beaming imagery onto the walls to get them to open the portals.
Oh my
Hey,
gosh.
Christy Campbell is, she's a Montauk experiencer. Rocco Fowler, Steve Shearer, I believe maybe Chastity Campbell, no relation to Christy, although they might be related. They remember each other and vice versa. They're as children in the cages, among other places, at Camp Hero Air Force Base as part of the Montauk Project.
Gosh, it's really horrific, the things that were done to children and just all humans that were there. That is just terrible. Thank you for being here, Christy. It's good to see you as well. So yeah. But yeah, a lot of interesting experimentation went on there. Horrible stuff. Horrible when it comes to the subjects that they were doing these experiments with. But yeah, I've recently did that remote viewing, and Susan did as well underneath there. And so hopefully with, our combined forces with people like Brian Minnick and Long Island Bigfoot, and then Brian, organizing to bring a lot of the survivors of the Montauk Project up to there, and then they're doing the remote viewing. Maybe we're going to kind of dig into it a little more and can, I want to say like back up what the eyewitness claims are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like back it up and put it out to the public.
And that's so important, because as it gets into the public awareness and they're looking at this growing mountain of evidence from so many different sources and angles and citations, that becomes unignorable. And then that's where the other side, they're emphasizing their Project Oblivion, where they're unleashing their armies of handlers to try to throw roadblocks and obstacles and target people in the community to prevent us from doing this work. So Angie Tillman is saying she's at Lake Burton right now. She had a visit from 3 bears on 3 a.m. at the witching hour. The cat woke her up to see them. Nice.
Angie, you're crazy, girl. I love you. Thank you for being here, Angie. That's my friend.
Glad your cat did not get eaten, nor you.
Well, yeah, are you sure they were bears? Because there's a lot of Bigfoots up there too, Angie. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to scare you, but I might do some Bigfooting up there where you're at. Okay, so just keep your head on a swivel. Okay. But oh my gosh. Well, we actually have a couple more stories to get to before we go today, Brian. So let's move on to the next one real quick. And let's see. I wanted to talk about this new comet too. I don't know anything about it, but people have been putting it in my chats. They're talking about SWAN. Okay. And let me just pull this up so we can read about it. Are you familiar with this new comet? I know we've been talking about 3I Atlas. They've classified that as a comet now.
So I don't know as much about SWAN. From 3I Atlas, what I think I know from what's been reported is that it's large. It might be moving at times faster than the speed of light. It's changing directions. It's self-lit up, with like lights on itself. And then it's called 3I because for third interstellar object, perhaps discovered. I don't know if it's just this year. My understanding is that because on Earth, the light has won, and Earth is a keystone planet, and you've got these galactic federations and councils on the one side, and then you've got more of these old school negative service to self, Draco, Reptilian, Orion, Nebu Empire, the Hive, empire trying to maintain humanity on Earth as a loosh farm. With these two forces in opposition, in general, the positive forces are now the balance of power is shifted to the good, the more service to other, instead of the negative alien agenda service to self groupings. And with that, as Earth and humanity are being liberated, many positive craft are on their way to visit Earth. And so that's generally my take on a lot of these craft. Because as far as I understand, even if it was, say, a negative meteorite with like Tater invaders, like a giant version of that, like, feed me, Seymour, hopefully we'd have enough positive forces in the region here to repel that sort of invader, biological, technological, whatever.
Wow. Oh my gosh. You know what? This is interesting too. Scott M just says, I heard this morning there's 7 new comets and at least one is going to meet 3I behind the sun. Oh my gosh. I mean, are all these comets actually comets, or what are they, spacecraft? That's my question at this point. It's like, well, if it's a comet, my data for the remote viewing part of my data, which is all remote viewing, I've remote viewed it twice, 2 blind targets, and they are both very similar. It's not a comet. These are some sort of a craft.
Yeah, okay. They're changing direction, so that already defeats the definition of a comet. I mean, if SWAN is a long period comet that's on this giant ellipsis, okay, fine, that's a comet. But at the point there, SWAN, at any point, if it starts changing direction, then I think we can stop calling it a comet. I don't think in the case of SWAN, it's necessarily changed direction, but I'm pretty sure I know Oumuamua has, and I'm pretty sure 3I Atlas has. So to me, they're no longer comets.
I don't believe so either. And it has light emanating out of the front of it as well.
Yeah, and then there you go. It's a comet with headlights,
With headlights.
I don't, to me, and what Colonel Randy Kramer says is that with UFOs and craft, the universal emergency lights of these craft is like a green kind of like aura, glow, or light in front of the craft in general, like green swirly light. And so for all we know, this is, a craft coming in with its emergency blinkers on saying, hey, here we are plowing your direction. But by being all lit up, it's not exactly stealthy, right?
It's not. Well, okay, Brian, the first thing that I actually wrote down in my data for the first time that I did a session on it was Dark Fleet. That came out. Okay. And I'm not even familiar with the SSP jargon and lingo, really. Okay.
I can speak to that.
Okay.
So
let's talk about it.
So when you talk about the German breakaway civilization where the Nazis really won World War II, and then they made it to the moon and Mars, Ceres, comet, and outer space, or Ceres asteroid in outer space, they have some people loosely call their fleets associated with the German breakaway civilizations, Nachtwaffen or Darkwing, or Dark Fleet. Okay, and so what some people are saying in our community Maybe it could be that this is a Solar Warden or Dark Fleet craft. Solar Warden's another faction of human secret space breakaway civilizations. That this could be a Dark Fleet or Solar Warden human craft that's making its way back to Earth because of all these amazing changes of Earth being in the process of being liberated, where the light has won.
Oh,
even though it's still a crap show.
Okay. It still is. I know. Oh my gosh. It totally is. Thank you, Andrew. He says the Great Awakening map mentions some larger scale ET assistance after the Great Solar Flash. Could this be the years prior to those events?
Absolutely. Yeah. This is a buildup. Absolutely. We're seeing more and more people in our community are not only being directly contacted by, in our sleep, we might go to a ship in the astral or wherever. Apparently there are people now who selected individuals are being met with face to face by a physical ET here on Earth, standing face to face and saying, you've been accepted to be an emissary or ambassador on behalf of the Galactic Federation to humanity. You've been chosen. And apparently this is going to happen more and more over the next coming years, these individual physical meetings as a lead up to 100% public physical appearances.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I can, that actually backs up what I was told by a friend of mine who might have had one of those meetings. But I'm not going to say anything else other than that. Okay. And I can say that I've heard that. I've never mentioned that before to anyone. And so what you just said actually is I can back that up with someone I know. Confirmation. Yeah. Wow. That is amazing. Okay. So we got that comment. We're not going to spend too much time on that. It's called SWAN. Okay. The new COMET, SWAN25B. There's a couple different swans. There's like a SWAN25F, I believe too. There's all sorts that goes down the whole alphabet, y'all. Okay. But it's just a bunch of comets. I don't know. I don't think that all these are comets. That's just my opinion. It's my opinion through the data analysis on my remote viewing targets. Okay. And so, like I said at the beginning of the show today, Brian, a lot of people who are remote viewing it, which is a little different from what my type of remote viewing, are saying that it's great. There's, coming to uplift humanity. And my data was like, it's a reptilian takeover. Okay. Like that show V, remember that?
Yeah,
I was V. Like, V was in my data.
Well, if anything, I mean, I could see it as on a lot of the Dark Fleet ships, apparently, that's where people see commanders dressed up in Nazi uniforms, but then they'll also report reptilians because you've got negative Draco factions that are apparently overseeing or overlording the Dark Fleet with the Nazis. It could be a Dark Fleet ship crewed by mostly humans with a reptilian overseer ordering the ship to come back to Earth to maybe try to tip the balance of power more on the negative side. But having said that, I don't want to engender any fear because the light has won and is going to continue to win in this timeline, is my understanding.
Oh yeah. I'm team human 100% all the way. And I'm hoping that my entire audience here today, they're all team human as well. I'm not saying everybody in the chat is a human though. I do have other beings watching the show, and I have been contacted about that. We have werewolves and everything, and I see some of them in the chat right now. Okay, so we have a very diverse audience. Let's just say. If
you're Team Gorn, feel free to let us know. We won't cancel.
Gorn. What is Gorn? What is
Gorn
that?
Gorn from Star Trek was like a reptile that Captain Kirk had to like wrestle on an alien planet.
My gosh.
Gorn the reptilian.
Hey, I've had reptilians on my show before. You remember?
Oh yeah, we have. I remember Nigel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even though a lot of these people may be real, a lot of it, that doesn't mean that you necessarily wanted that they're 100% doing everything above board in the here and now just because, yes, they are a reptilian hybrid starseed.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, Dan Guest, what's up, Dan? Dan's out of the UK. He says, I'm team tell us all the truth. Yes, me too.
Yeah. We're doing the best we can.
We are. We're both working on it, Dan. We're all working on it together.
Oh, sorry. I moved my mic. Yeah, we're doing the best we can.
Oh, that microphone sounds. Your microphone sounds amazing, by the way.
Sorry,
really
I moved it up because I had to check in. I got a call it real quick. I had to let them know, hey, I'll call you back. But yep, I'm back. So yeah, it's Team Gorn. Gorn was a reptile from Star Trek.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for explaining that, because I did not follow Star Trek as like I should. I need to go back and watch it. That's what I need to do. But speaking of all the truth, we do have one more story today, Brian. And well, we have two if you count the Rapture. And so we'll talk about that if we have time at the end. But there was a very disturbing 911 call that got released recently, and I wanted to let's talk about this a little bit because this has elements of not only ghosts but pell crawlers, aka rakes. Okay, and that's something that we have actually potentially encountered out in a cave on a trip that I was on, doing an investigation out there. And this I'm going to play the 911 call for the audience today. Okay. And let's see if I've got oh, here we go. Okay. This is out of North Carolina. Let me share my screen. Let me hide that. We're going to share the screen. I've got two articles. I've got an article and then I've got the battlefield. Okay. This happened around a Civil War battlefield. And this happened back in 2021, July the 21st of 2021. Driver reports attack by a non-human creature. Brian, you're going to like this one. It's really weird. Driver reports attack by a non-human creature in North Carolina. What began as a report of a man injured by the roadside ended in panic when the driver screamed to 911, "This is not human." And this is from ovniologia.com. And these are some of the pictures from Carolina Case Files. So if you guys want to, we got to give credit to Carolina Case Files. This actually looks like a pell crawler. And let me read you the summary of what happened. Then I'm going to play the call for the audience. In Pender County, North Carolina, near the Morris Creek National Battlefield, a man saw a tall man. A man was driving down the road late one night on July the 21st, 2021, saw a tall man. He's about 7 feet tall. Well, whatever landed on his truck was 7 feet tall. But he was driving down 210, passed over Black River, headed towards 53 East. He passed Patriots Watch, is what it's called, Patriots Watch. This is where a Revolutionary War battle happened. I thought it was Civil War, but I think it's Revolutionary War, actually. And the man called 911 to report that there was a man with blood all over his head and all over his body standing on the side of the road. Well, he got concerned, so he found a safe place to pull the truck over. And I guess he turned around, or he just sat there because he was going to go see if this guy needed help. He was calling 911 to report it. And as he's talking to the 911 dispatcher, you're going to hear when I play this, he goes, he's trying to explain where he's at. And then all of a sudden you hear a thump in his truck. And he starts saying, that's not human. That's not human. And so I'm going to just go ahead and play this on my microphone for you guys to hear. And let me turn it up. Okay, here we go.
Pender County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay, where are you at, sir?
I'm on 210. I just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53E. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Morse Creek?
Yes.
Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road? What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the bed of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road, it's in my truck! In the bed!
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am, I just turned on my bed light for my truck and there's something in my bed.
Okay, sir, when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my hood.
Okay, what was it?
Now, according to report.
Okay. Wow. What you think, Brian? I think you're muted.
At first, I was thinking it might be a rake or a pale crawler because of the physical description. But then, if this guy is driving and he's moving that fast, now I'm starting to think it might be a skinwalker, because pale crawlers can't keep up with a car or truck that's moving, as far as I know, not that fast. I mean, they can shamble or maybe jog, but they can't. Now, skinwalker, I've heard many people talk about how they've been driving at night in like the Four Corners area, Navajo Nation area of freeways in the United States, and they'll encounter a being that literally will be running alongside their vehicle as they're driving at 70 miles an hour. And the thing will literally look over at them. And in the Native American tradition, you're not supposed to look over and make eye contact, because it'll just chase you even more. So the point where this guy, if he's still driving and it jumped in the back of his car or truck, I think it's a skinwalker. And it being near a battlefield, that would be a place where there might be possible negative portals, a lot of negative energy or loosh to harvest, might attract darker beings like a skinwalker, which is apparently a cursed Native American magician, like a black magician who's taken kind of like a lich from, like, if anyone who plays Dungeons and Dragons, but from Indian native lore. And so that's my thoughts. Yes. Is it most likely a skinwalker if I had to guess?
Yes. Well, okay. So it started off as a soldier with the guy. So if you go to this website, that website that I was just on, and they actually have, he doesn't show his face, he show the back of his head as he's being interviewed by what was that website? Carolina Cryptids or Carolina Case Files. That's what it was. Y'all go check them out. And he's given, the whole interview is pretty wild. He said that he was driving in his truck, passed by a man that looked like he had a severe head injury. Like he'd hit his head and he had blood just streaming down his head all over his clothes. And he looked like he had on a soldier's outfit.
And skinwalkers can mimic because they're supernatural beings. And that's where people report being in the woods and they'll hear their own voice calling their name, and it's to follow them. And so all of this indicates, maybe that's why I'm veering towards the supernatural side, Jessica, because of that.
Oh yeah. Okay. So being down here in Georgia, we have a lot of Civil War battlefields, and I've actually had my own personal encounters at Pigot's Mill battlefield. Shout out to my friend Erin. Happy birthday, Erin. She's a Georgia Peach as well. Her birthday is today, I think. I just saw that in the chat. So happy birthday, Erin. But we have a lot of Civil War battlefields here in Georgia, and I've had the phantom cannon shots going off, the firing, all that kind of stuff. Lots of soldiers are seen around Kennesaw, and it's like they don't know the battle's over, and they're still there. Their ghosts are still there. But okay, so this guy saw like what he looked like. It kind of looked like he maybe like a Civil War reenactor or something. But it was very solid, very real. So he called 911. He pulled the truck over. See, I thought maybe he had turned around, but I think what happened was he pulled the truck over while he called 911. And as he pulled it over, he's on the phone now, and that's when you hear the bang. Something jumps in his truck. He said that when he turned on his cab light, which faces backwards, so he described this as not as a soldier with a blood on his head. This was something else. So he said what it was a 7 to 8 foot tall, almost like a naked humanoid, just skin with no clothes on. And it had a face with no eyes on it, just sunken in, like holes almost. And he said it looked like someone had taken a human and pulled its skin back real tight. And it didn't have eyes. It just had two sunken in holes where the eyes were supposed to be. And it had its face. It was pale white. And he said it had its face up to the window.
Did it look something like this?
Let's see. Yes, the pale crawler. Let's see. Here it goes. Yes.
I'm trying to share my screen here. Like one of these guys.
Sharing. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so maybe that's why, this It's either a pale crawler or a skinwalker. If this truck stopped and the pale crawler jumped on, that makes a lot more sense. But if it shape shifted from looking like a Civil War or Revolutionary War soldier into a tall, slender being, then I think it would be more a supernatural skinwalker as opposed to say what Christopher Jacobs and Joanna Michaels of the lifting.net, our friends, what they say is that the pale crawlers, they're from like a dimension kind of lateral to ours, and they have like these long claw fingernails like that are really sharp, and if they scratch you, you become paralyzed, and then they swarm you and eat you.
Oh my gosh. Well, you can actually hear it in the video, and not the video, but the audio of the 911 call. You can hear scratching, you can hear it scratching, and you can hear it beating the top of his cab. And so let me tell you what happened. So this is wild because the sheriff was interviewed with this, and the sheriff is, you can actually find that on that Carolina Case Files website. The sheriff was interviewed, and here's what the guy who it happened to said. He said that when it got on the back of his truck, he started screaming, "It's not a human. It's not a human." He said he took off 80 miles an hour. He said he went from 0 to 80, and then he slammed on the brakes as hard as he could, and the thing went flying over the cab and it landed in the road. He said at 80 miles an hour, slammed on his brakes to get out of his truck. I don't blame him. I would have done the same thing. I'm sorry. I would have.
Good move.
Anybody would have, right, Brian? I mean, I think anybody would have done that.
Well, then once you go 80 miles an hour, slam on the brakes, throw it over the hood of your car, and you're supposed to run it over.
Well, he didn't run it over. He was trying to figure out what he was looking at. And he said as soon as it fell in the ground, it went flying over his car. He said all he saw was a skinny person, basically, real lanky, landed on the ground, that it got up and it ran off into the woods.
A skinny pale crawler ass just flying over your windshield.
Yes. It survived. I don't think a human would have survived that and been able to get up and run off.
Yeah, being thrown. Bones. Exactly. I mean, it doesn't sound human, especially if he left scratch marks in the hood of his truck. That's not normal. Human fingernails aren't going to necessarily do that. No. But I'd be interested to know if his truck has scratches on it or dents where the thing was hitting it. And can we get some DNA samples, please? Right. I'm just saying. Metal.
Yeah, but I thought that was really interesting. You know, we do get a lot of reports of pale crawlers. One of my teammates has a video of one from his trail cam. I guess it's like facing his driveway up in like the mountains in South Carolina, North Carolina area. And I've been to his house before. It is creepy going up there at night. But lots of people are encountering these things, Brian. And
the veil is thinning. The veil is thinning, and it's likely that people are going to encounter this more and more. And so this where like missing 411, if you're going to places like national parks and places like that, now is the time to keep your eyes more open than ever, because the veil, I believe, is thinning. The portals, there are more portals, they're opening more. Our third eyes are being more activated. We're seeing more things. We're feeling it, that's for sure.
Yes, we are. Man, I tell you, the energies are wackadoodle right now. And so, I do have some trips planned to the woods here coming up. So I'm excited. I'm going to be on the lookout for some pale crawlers. And I always am. Skinwalkers, whatever's out there. I'm going to go chase it.
So this gets us to the end of the world topic briefly.
Yes, the Rapture.
For me, I'm not ever one who's like, it's the end of the world, fini, like in the end, kaput. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Like 2012 was a shifting. Many people have been waking up. For this old illusion, distorted Babylonian money system beast, system to fall apart and die, I think that's actually a good thing. It's because with the ending of a world comes the birthing of a new one as well, and not new world order, but a Earth 2.0. New Earth is being reborn.
Oh, I love your perspective on that. I do. I think that's wonderful. Yeah, well, because there is a there's many that believe that there's a prophecy that potentially tomorrow the rapture could happen, and anywhere between September the 23rd through the 24th. So that's tomorrow or the next day, y'all. If I'm
According to who? According to who?
Well, it depends on who you're asking, okay? Because there is a Pastor Joshua, okay? He predicts Jesus's return in September, and this guy is somewhere out of, I believe he's a South African preacher.
Okay,
and
I can already say
circulated video right now talking about it.
I mean, I can already say he's biblical, or in that in the Bible, as altered as it is, one of the truths it shares with us, as far as any rapture is concerned, is that when Yeshua says it, God will come like a thief in the night, unknown to us and unannounced. And anybody making a prediction saying it's going to happen in this time and place, don't listen to them. So the fact it's a pastor making a prediction like that already tells me the pastor didn't read the Bible.
Yeah, well, there are people that, I mean, I even know of one or two people who have posted about it on YouTube channels and things like that. People I know personally. And so, I mean, it's a wonderful thing.
Because they posted it because Pastor so-and-so in South Africa said so?
I don't know. It's actually more than just him talking about it, Brian.
Okay. It's more than
definitely.
Him. Okay.
And I think it does align with like the equinox. Didn't we just have like the summer solstice or the fall solstice?
The equinox. Equinox, I believe, is coming up.
It's a solstice, I think.
Was it solstice?
I think that was yesterday, wasn't it?
Let me see.
I don't know. I have been too busy to be doing my research on that one.
I mean, look, I use the internet here. It says the autumn equinox, occurs Monday, September 22nd. So today is autumn equinox. Okay. And so apparently today is helping to, from an astrological standpoint, I'm told, it's helping to balance out the energies, especially after the blood moon eclipse. And I think there's like another eclipse we had. But yeah.
Oh, man. Well, okay, here's my question to you, Brian. And I've heard this before with someone. I don't know. I had a conversation with somebody a while back. It was a private conversation, I'm pretty sure. But we were talking about the rapture, and I hate to say using that because, there's a lot of psyops that go on, and a lot of things are choreographed and stuff. And
absolutely.
What if there was some kind of mass abduction or something like that they use the rapture as a cover for it?
So this is my take. The other side, this whole time, they've tried to use the eschatology of the book of Revelation in the Bible as we know it to push their Khazarian mafia Israel end times narrative, when the vast majority of people living in Israel these days are Ashkenazi. They're not Sephardic, so they're not even genetically who the Bible is referring to. And so while there are people who want to drive the narrative, the New World Order lamestream types, the reality from everything I'm told and understand is that, humanity in the past, we've had the attempts to rise and to ascend from third density to fourth and fifth density consciousness. And that's finally going to happen this time around. And, anything like a nuclear war, or they're going to just take lots of us off the planet, like in Arthur C. Clarke's Childhood's End. That's one of their, and he was a Luciferian as well. That's kind of like the narrative that they want to run. I don't think that's going to happen. I think because of the certain biological warfare interventions, we are going to lose a lot of people, but a lot of people are going to heal themselves and cure themselves of that. Society is waking up. And so even though there are some negative timelines where probably what the other side wants to play out will play out, we're in a higher timeline now. And so we got church bells, so churches on high alert, church bells ringing. Yeah, we're in a higher timeline.
The bells keep the demons away, don't they? The reptilians and the demons.
I believe so.
I'm not saying all reptilians are bad or demons, y'all. Okay, right. Don't come at me again.
It's a lower frequency beings, because if you have as above, so below, as within, so without. A bell is like down here on a lower earth plane, like a really high pure frequency, and then that'll reverberate not just in the earthly plane, but all the way back up to the spiritual planes. And that's why spirits are repelled by bells and salt, and and other frankincense high vibration things. And to me, that it sounded so weird and cartoony, but now thinking about it from a more metaphysical, scientific standpoint, it actually makes sense.
It does. It does. I'm glad we have the knowledge of that now. And when Clan Ken, what's up, Ken? Thank you for being here. He says, churches all over are on high alert. No man knows the day or hour, but the Bible says we will see the day approaching. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. And so, yes, we never know, y'all. We never know how much longer we have here on this earth. So let's make it good. Okay. Make it meaningful, and make sure you go out there and you love your family and yourself and your friends, and do what makes you happy. And maybe go do that today. Okay. Because we don't know how long we're going to be here, and there may be a rapture tomorrow. Okay. I'm just saying.
Be the real kings and queens that you are, so that when that day comes, you get to stand tall, and no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Stargazer says, if there's a mass abduction, I'm hoping they take me. I want to be like Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters. I think a lot of people do right now, especially in this climate.
They do, and I used to be of that school. Calgon, take me away. But nowadays, it's like, come this far. I'm 50 now. I'm a human. I'm on the human mission. I want to finish my mission. I don't want to hit the eject button, halfway through.
Yeah. It's embrace the suck at this point, Brian. That's what I do.
We're fully embraced. Yeah.
I have fully embraced the suck at this point. Yeah. Spoken true words from my friend Tim, who passed away. He was one of the guys who walked in the portal. He taught me that. Embrace the suck. That's what he always told me. Yes, y'all, this has been a wonderful show today. Thank you so much, Brian, for being here. I so appreciate you. And I knew we were going to have a great discussion. We really whizzed through all of those topics today, and we even made it to the rapture at the very end. So thank you, Brian. Can you tell everybody where they can find you? Tell us about your projects, anything you'd like to promote today, please.
Yeah. Assuming we'll all be here tomorrow still, which we will. fulldisclosuremovement.org or fulldisclosure.live for the blog, which I need to update. Soon we'll be having articles on there by Olivia James, also known as the Gray Mouse. And in the upcoming days and weeks, we'll also be taking over the former Center for Creative Life and transforming it into the Starseed Education, Activation, and Research Center for Humanity of Sedona, Arizona. And more on that to come. We don't even have a website yet, but that'll all be in the making.
Oh, amazing. Well, I can't wait to see what you have in store, Brian, and what life has in store for you, as a matter of fact. And so you guys, please go over to fulldisclosuremovement.org. I remember that off the top of my head from promoting your conference.
That's right.
All those shows and all those days. That was such a wonderful event, Brian. So thank you for letting me be a part of that.
No, thank you, Jessica. We're looking forward to next year. Again in Florida. Hope you can join us. And then we'll also be doing conferences and events here in Sedona. So I have to have you join us out here as well. And in addition to hitting the like and subscribe button, everyone hit the notify button, and then leave your comments in the comment section to boost the algorithms, because we know what it's like to be censored and banned. So we need to stroke the algorithms.
We sure do. Oh my gosh, Brian, I'm so proud of you. You've gotten a really big following over on Facebook, I've noticed. And also you have a YouTube channel as well. So everybody, please go subscribe to Full Disclosure Now, Brian Tseng. Is that what it's titled?
Something like that. Yeah, if you look up Brian Tseng and SolarBee and Full Disclosure Now, then you'll find the budding channel. And as we grow the Full Disclosure Network, then a lot of the content on the network will be mirrored to that YouTube channel. So thank you for having me, and thank you everyone out there for being here. Jessica, you always have the most active and best chat rooms.
Thank you. It's the best on the planet for sure. And thank you, Andrew. I've had the best mods on the planet for sure. And it's Brian the Solar. It's actually Full Disclosure Now with Brian Tseng. That's the name of it. I had it on the ticker down here the whole show. So, and we've got links right here in the chat. So, all right, Brian, thank you so much again for being here. I am just proud to call you a friend, and I'm excited to work with you in the future. Please come back. Okay.
Cheers, y'all. SolarBee out.
Awesome. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful day. I will see you guys back here on Wednesday on a glitch in the matrix. In the meanwhile, please be safe out there. And we are living in crazy times, of course. And so keep your head on a swivel. Do not live in fear. Live in awareness. And I'm sending all my love and light to you guys. If you guys would like to become a member of my channel, please go hit that join button. And otherwise, I will see you guys back here on Wednesday. I want to say happy birthday to Aaron Landrum. Thank you so much for being here and spending your birthday with the Cryptid Hunters crew. All right, y'all. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you Wednesday. Bye, y'all.